Thank you for viewing my YouTube channel. My name is Tawanda, and my friends call me Tutu, and I love to create. So today we're going to start by gathering our materials. We need your front piece that you applied, that you need to apply the applique to. The applique itself, and then also a type of cotton or muslin fabric to act as a pressing sheet. You're gonna need stick pins, a twin universal wide twin needle, universal wide, a screwdriver, pair of scissors, sewing machine, 2 spools of thread, and an extra thread holder. All right, so let's get started. Now I've already, to save some time, I've already appliqued the top portion of my front. Okay, now I'm gonna show you guys how to do the applique on the bottom section, or like you can use these techniques for any type of applique. All right, so let's let the iron warm up. All right, so first we're going to start with placement. Grab that traced front that we did. So this is my traced front. And you're going to put it down on the front of your, you could use the ironing board, or if you have the heating pad, the ironing pad that I mentioned, you can use that. So what we need to do now is to line up the tracing paper on top of our pattern piece, our front that we cut out. So since we want to make sure this is the piece that we're doing here, is this area here. Okay, so you have you cut out your heat and bond, and you see there's a white paper on the back. You're going to peel the paper off, and behind that is more adhesive, and that's what we're going to iron onto the front of our fabric. Now, if you notice that when you're pulling that none of the adhesive had adhere to your applique, then just iron it again until it starts sticking. All right. Oh, it's very important. Wait until it cools before you pull off the white backing paper, because otherwise you run the chance of pulling the adhesive off with the paper. All right, so now I'm going to place my applique under the pattern piece, and basically it's going to be a feel test. You're going to feel the piece of the pattern. You're going to feel through the traced pattern piece where the placement of your applique should be. All right. You can also do this method of using a ruler or a tape measure to measure where everything is going to be. Alright, so you're going to place the pattern piece on top of your applique in your front, and you basically are going to try to line up the applique piece with the lines you drew on the pattern piece. Now things will shift because of cutting. That's okay. Just as long as it looks good, you're fine. You just need to make sure you have proper placement before you iron it down, because once you iron it down, that's it. You can't go back. You have to start all over again. Okay. Okay, once you have a section pinned out, lined up, just put stick pins in the top. And I know you can't see it right now, but when I do the other side, you'll be able to see it. And that'll help keep the fabric from shifting. Okay, so yep, so you'll take the stick pin and you're going to stick it where the applique is lining up on the front. And you continue to feel for it for the placement underneath the traced pattern piece. Yeah, oh, I think we're pretty good. All right. Okay. Now, if something looks a little strange, you can take your ruler and use it to line up placements and make sure that they're equal on both sides. Again, make sure it's really equal on both sides, because once you iron it down, you can't go back. It's not that you can lift it up and move it or nothing. The glue has adhered to the fabric, and you just have to start all over again with a new piece. All right, so let's see here. I'm gonna line up, make sure everything is matching first. Okay. All right, so something's a little wonky here. So I've got to probably shift my piece over a little bit. You might have to do this measuring multiple times. Okay. All right, everything looks pretty symmetrical to me, but let me just double check again. Okay, so now that you have everything lined up where you want it, then you're going to take your pressing sheet of fabric, pressing piece of fabric. I can't talk today, so please excuse me. Okay, so then you take your iron and you put your iron on a medium polyester setting with no steam, because steam will cause the applique to bubble as you're ironing it. So it just need to be a dry iron with no steam. All right, so you're gonna start in one section, pressing down kind of firmly, move the iron around, and you're doing this so that you can adhere the applique to the front. I like to do this in sections instead of like trying to go all the way around. Oh, and make sure that all your applique is covered by the pressing sheet. And that way, especially when you're using spandex, you won't burn it. Oh yes, and I've also pre-recorded for you to figure out, another video so that you can figure out the stitching. And it will be the last video that I did, which is right before this one. All right, so you look and you test and you feel around to make sure that it has adhered. Okay, once one section has adhered good, you continue on ironing until you have all sections ironed down. I almost made a big old boo-boo there. But I caught myself. Yeah, if you feel like it's taking too long for it to adhere, then raise the temperature up by 1 notch. Yeah, so it's gonna take a while to adhere. Okay, perfect. And then we continue and iron on the rest of it. I really need to get a countdown clock because that's why I keep looking, just to see how many minutes everything is going by. So I'm going to add that to my supply list. All right, almost finished. Oh yes, the silver little pieces that I drew in my diagram, I did not forget about those. I already have those pre-cut out. But I'm going to wait until I sew the front, the back, and the sleeves together so I can decide on the true placement that they will be on my shirt. All right, I think we're, no, not quite, almost adhered, almost. Let this sit for a little bit. If you're gonna let your iron sit for a while, make sure you don't forget about it because it'll cause things to melt. Nope, still got to iron up in that corner up there. All right. Okay, that corner doesn't like me very well, but that's okay. Both corners. Okay. And sometimes you will run have where the adhesive does not want to stick for whatever reason. No matter how much you iron it, it won't stick, but that's okay. You can always put pins in it. Okay. A little bit here. right, so my next shot will be of us starting to sew. All right, guys, now it's you should have your sewing machine already threaded and on the setting for your zigzag. Okay, and then let's see, I'll go ahead and do another tester so you can see what stitch that I'm using. No, it's going to be in black. You won't be able to see it, so maybe I shouldn't do that. Just show it to you now. All right, so I don't know if you can see that type of zigzag stitch. So that's the type of zigzag stitch that we need to use to apply our applique. All right. All right. It's very important. Make sure you zigzag back stitch and then continue so your stitch will not come unraveled. You get to a corner, you need to make sure you keep the needle down to pivot so that you can change the direction you're stitching. And you don't have to pull it, just kind of guide it with your hands. Again, needle down into fabric, press the first foot, lift it up to pivot and continue. Doing corners does take practice. Position looking good so far. Okay, so I'm going to continue sewing this down and we will start the video again. Alright guys, I'm almost done stitching down the front portion of this applique. So I'm going to do a continuation of this video on how we're going to put it together. At the end, okay, then cut your extra threads, and here, I don't know if you can see that I have the bottom stitched on using that zigzag stitch. So we're pretty much done with the front. Okay, so the next the next video I'm going to show you how to put together. All right, see you guys soon.